Wow, 20 possible product ideas that you could 3D print and sell. How could you not make money doing this? There's 20 of them. I'm gonna go into this video. I'm gonna show you all the reasons why a lot of these might not work, and I'm gonna show you 3 that could work, and I'm gonna tell you why. Jewelry, okay, so this isn't a terrible one, but you're really fighting with a big competitive market here. There's a lot of people creating jewelry, and unless you're going to be creating silicone molds or lost wax casting for something like the metal side of jewelry, jewelry is definitely one of those areas where people pay a premium for metal or precious metals. Okay, so the phone cases. Again, the problem with this is that there's so many different types of phone cases out there. There's pretty much for every model of phone, there's every type of case you could possibly want or imagine. Even for like super niche things, anything you could imagine, phone cases are covered. And it takes a while to 3D print them, and they're pretty low value as well. You're probably not going to be able to sell a phone case for much more than about $15, $20. Cookie cutter items, not terrible because they're really low cost to print, but you are going to hit problems because you can't make them FDA approved. So you're always going to have a liability there, not knowing if there's a lawsuit coming around the corner. You can't dishwasher safe 3D printed products. Plant pots, not a terrible idea. If you're creative, if you can make something that hasn't been seen before and look really premium, then you're on to a possible winner there. We've spoken with quite a few companies now that have made plant pots work, succulent planters, indoor, a real talking point. But you've got to be like artist borderline level, and don't even think about copying someone else's design off Thingiverse. I mean, you probably can. Legalities or ethicals, questionable. But if you're 3D printing it and downloading it for free off some site, chances are loads of other people have done that already, so there's going to be lots of competition. Desktop organizers, not too bad, but again, you've got to find a real niche market for those. Your generic one-size-fits-all desk organizers that hold like loads of stuff, it's not going to work. You've got to overlay that with some other profession, like a desktop organizer for firefighters or secretaries or photography enthusiasts, photographers otherwise known as. You've got to get really specific on that. Prototypes, absolutely terrible idea. A lot of people we speak to are trying to come away from building prototypes and custom prints with their 3D printing business because you just can't scale it. Not like products where you can print batches off on each print. Board games, not a bad route, but the accessories for board games, they're always going to be low valued, whereas potentially replacement pieces for really obscure board games, that there aren't many out there. But really it's going to be, if you create your own board game with specific 3D printed pieces in that's probably going to be best option for in terms of value versus cost. Bike accessories, not a bad one because people spend a lot of money on bikes. Kitchen gadgets, again, you got to be really careful with 3D printing because the layers, you don't get FDA approved filament, and even if the filament was FDA approved, you're not going to get the 3D printing process, which also would have to be FDA approved for that to work. 3D printing just has too many micro holes in, you can never fit it in a dishwasher. Lighting fixtures, again, if you can get it something really good looking, obviously got to be LED, don't want it melting. That's not a bad shout either. Pet accessories, people love pets. If you can find pets that aren't the mainstream pets that people spend a lot of money on, but stay away from the custom options like Rex printed on a name tag or something. It's an absolute nightmare to handle custom names on 3D printing business. People think it's really easy to do. You've got a product like a dog collar or something. Don't print dog collars, no money in that. But like, let's say there's custom names, for an extra $5 or $10, you're going to be doing so much extra work, editing the files in your slicer, resending them to a printer. Every time an order comes in, there's just no way you can systematize that and build it. Drone parts, unfortunately, there's just massive overlap between 3D printing enthusiasts and drone parts. There's just way too much competition out there. Garden decor, not terrible, not great. Unless you're printing in ASA, UV resistant. Cosplay items, again, massive overlay between cosplay enthusiasts and 3D printing people, 3D printers. Same again with custom miniatures. Just so many people offering, scenery, prints. We've had a lot of clients in those sorts of niches as well. Custom prosthetics, what a minefield. Absolutely terrible idea. the litigations, the complexity. I mean, that's not just 3D printing something and trying to sell it. That's setting up a business needing significant amounts of investment. I mean, if you want to check out prosthetics, check out companies like Open Bionics. Full disclosure, I'm an investor, but they 3D print elements of the prosthetics, the hands that they do, and they have spent years on that sort of build-up. So can't recommend that. Not as an easy to start business. You can print, from your workshop or a print farm. Okay, replacement parts aren't bad, but it's really sort of a luck way to find those. It's really, if you know, if you know there's an area that people really want them, but even then you've got a challenge of those people being able to find your parts. It needs to be the right level of niche. You need to have that sweet spot where there's enough people that want to buy them. They're discontinued by the main manufacturer, or they're ridiculously priced by the main manufacturer, and there's no one else that does third-party stuff. All of this personalized merch is a terrible idea because of, like we said before, the customization, constantly redoing a different model and file, all the editing that you'd have to do. Often with gifts like this, it's going to be from people that don't understand 3D modeling, they don't understand 3D printing. They're going to be expecting you to either modify a design they already have, a 3D file. Do you do free work? Do you charge for that and risk losing the sale? Or they're going to be expecting you to do it from scratch and build that for their gift. Same with monogrammed items. It's custom names, custom text on a print. It's just a terrible idea. You're constantly stopping and starting your workflow. When you're creating a business to sell 3D prints, it's imperative that you're selling essentially the same thing over and over again so that you can get the systems running up, the printers are running, being able to churn out the product, and it's reliable, and you're not messing around with post-print finishing or making software adjustments for every single order. And the full customization is just terrible idea because it's that times 100. So yeah, videos like this are really tricky to get any value from. The faceless AI generated YouTube channels where they're just getting random suggestions and they're just putting it out there without any real understanding as to, the people that created this, they've not made money 3D printing and selling those 3D prints. These are all guesswork. So, one or two ideas in there. The lighting decor isn't bad because the expense side of things, people can spend a lot of money on that. But there's a lot of rabbit holes here, and not many of them are going to take you to your fastest point from 3D printer to profitable 3D printing business. Hope it helps.